What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to talk a little bit about creatine monohydrate. Okay, I've recently just got this micronized creatine. It's actually a brand, Optimum Nutrition, and I've actually taken creatine in the past, but I've seen a lot of YouTubers coming out with like a 30-day challenge or even just talking about their creatine experience. I guess I wanted to hop on and talk about it as well. I actually played college football at Monmouth University, and I took creatine back in college and definitely saw a lot of great results. Obviously speed and size and muscle growth in my muscles as I took creatine. So today we're going to talk a little about the benefits of it and some side effects as well. And then at the end, we'll kind of talk about the 30-day challenge that I'm gonna go through as well. So what is creatine, right? So I'll give you guys a definition. So creatine is a natural substance that turns into creatine phosphate in the body. Creatine phosphate helps make a substance called ATP, which basically ATP helps provide energy for muscle contractions. You guys also get creatine from a lot of the foods you eat and a lot of proteins, whether it's salmon, beef, different fishes that have creatine already. So you get it from the foods that you eat, but getting it from a supplement can actually increase that intake of creatine. Okay, so a little backstory about creatine. It got super popular in the 1990s once athletes realized that it was linked to enhancing physical performance. So creatine was supposed to increase lean muscle mass, increase strength, and also with muscle repair during exercise. So from my experience back when I was in college taking creatine, I think there's a lot of validity in terms of what we talked about with the muscle strength. I remember really being a lot stronger in the weight room and having a lot more endurance as my muscles repaired much more quickly. So your body naturally synthesizes creatine through the amino acids called glycine and arginine. So it's actually been proven that creatine helps with power output, but it doesn't necessarily improve muscle mass. So at least not directly. So two ways that creatine will help with muscle mass is through one, power output, and then secondly, with water retention. So we're talking about power output. As you lift more weights, your body will be tearing more muscle fibers. So your body's gonna go through muscle protein synthesis, which basically recovers your torn muscle fibers. So as you lift more weights, you will then be creating more muscle fiber repair and also increasing my weight as I was able to retain a lot more water in my body. I do recommend drinking a ton of water while you do take creatine, as it will help you with the retention of water, obviously. But secondly, I know some people do go through some cramps. So I think just having water in your diet in general is really good anyway. So when you are taking creatine, I highly recommend drinking a ton of water. All right, so you're probably thinking, how much creatine should I take? So there's been a lot of studies, and a lot of these companies talk about taking a loading stage, right? Which basically means that you take 20 grams of creatine for like the first week, right? So the normal dosage is roughly 3 to 5 grams, which is what I recommend. In my opinion, the loading stage, there isn't that many extra benefits. I think a lot of times companies are doing that so you consume a lot more, but realistically, studies have shown that you can just take that normal 3 to 5 grams of creatine and just keep that consistent, and you can stop whenever you would like to. The perfect way that I like to mix up the creatine is with my protein shake right after I do a workout. If you are gonna do some type of loading stage, I wouldn't recommend the 20 grams. I would do something more like a 10 gram, where maybe you're taking 5 grams of creatine in the morning and then maybe 5 after your workout. That would probably be the most loading that I would do. But once again, I've looked it up and I've actually done a lot of research, and studies have shown that there's not that many more benefits of doing a loading stage. So I wouldn't really recommend doing a 20-gram loading stage on your first week of taking creatine. All right, so now we're gonna talk a little about the side effects or the negatives of taking creatine. And honestly, there's been a lot of myths that have been debunked, or there just wasn't enough concrete evidence that creatine messes up with your kidneys and your livers. But honestly, in human trials, from the studies I've seen, that there hasn't really been that many negative trials. So I wouldn't really look too much into that, or let me take it back. I would look into that, but I wouldn't be too worried about taking creatine if you are worried about your liver or your kidneys down the road, because there hasn't really been that many results showing that there has that negative of an impact. And creatine has been out for decades now, and it's honestly in a lot of the foods that we eat already. Plus, it's in most of the proteins that people are buying nowadays. The one notable side effect of creatine is definitely the water retention. You are going to be looking a little bit more bigger, a little more swoller in a sense. Your muscles will look like they are bigger because of how much water is retaining in your body. Now, I guess that's not necessarily a negative thing for some people. If you are looking to get bigger and put on a couple more pounds, you will probably gain 1 to 4 pounds in that first week of taking creatine, as you are consuming a lot more water as well. But that would be the one negative side effect that people are seeing. But if you are looking to get bigger, it's not necessarily such a negative thing. So in terms of finding what creatine that you would like to use in terms of brands, I highly recommend finding one that is a creatine monohydrate. That is going to be your purest form of creatine, and there's a ton of different brands that have creatine, and I actually got the Optimum Nutrition one, and I really got this one because I've used this brand in the past before, and it's also the same brand that I use for my whey protein. But if you're out there and you found a different creatine, if the creatine is really sinking down to the bottom of your glass or the bottom of your protein bottle, try to find one that dissolves better in your water or in your juice or in your protein shake, just so that you're consuming that creatine. Because if you think about that 5 grams, if most of it is sitting at the bottom of that glass, then you're not really consuming all of it. And also you can get pills if you like taking pills more than the powder version. In my opinion, the powder gets to your muscles a lot quicker. So that's kind of what I've been doing and what I did in the past. So I would recommend getting some type of powder form of creatine monohydrate. I hope you guys liked this video and were able to gain some value out of it. I'm also going to be doing a 30-day creatine challenge, and it's not really a challenge. I'm just going to be consuming creatine over a 30-day period and seeing what results I get. I haven't taken creatine in a couple years since I got done playing college football. I'm excited to see the muscle gain and the muscle strength from taking creatine again. So we'll kind of see what results we get from doing that 30-day creatine challenge. So stay tuned for that video in a couple of weeks. If you guys did get any value from this video, I would love if you like and subscribe, and also hit that bell icon so you can get notified when I push out my next video. If you guys want to see any other supplements that I take, or maybe what proteins I take, I would love for you to drop in the comments. I'm not too big on crazy supplements. I think your body should naturally get them from the foods that you consume, but I do take a few that might be able to add some value to your day-to-day lives as well. Until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one.